Unfortunately, we don't know what kind of result will be returned by the place picker. If we get a place, we know that it will have an address, but that address could be anything, from a city name to a business name or even an empty string. So we can't reliably form a request to the Weather Service off of this string alone. However, a place object also contains a latitude and a longitude, and OpenWeatherMap supports queries by latlong. So what we need to do is to store the address as our location string, but store the latlong as our location query. To do this, let's begin with the simple things. First, we need to declare two new preference keys, one for latitude and one for longitude. Then we can create new utility methods to help us out, one each to get the value of the latitude and longitude out of their preferences, and then a third method to check for the existence of these preferences. These preferences will be our indicator that we are using a place picker location instead of a user-entered string location. If the user decides to replace their location with a string later on, we'll wipe these preferences as a signal to stop forming the query with the latlong. In SyncAdapter, instead of always building the query based off of the location string, we want to potentially build a query using a latlong value. So first, we need to check if we have a latlong to work with. And if we do, we're going to build the request using lat and long. However, if we don't, we're going to build it the way we were before using our location string. The rest of the URI builder remains unchanged. However, since we are dependent on the existence of a latlong preference as a signal that we are using a place picker location, we need to wipe those preferences when the user enters a location string manually. So in Settings Activity, in onSharedPreferenceChanged, you'll need to do this whenever the location is updated. This method is an automatic callback that is invoked by the dialog preference class. Because our place picker was an intent launched by Settings Activity, it won't ever trigger this callback. And so this is a safe place to reliably wipe the place picker latlong whenever we have a manual entry. Because we don't trigger the callback when returning from the place picker, we'll need to tell our SyncAdapter that something has changed in onActivity result. First, we'll update the preference summary string in our settings UI, and then we will ask our SyncAdapter to fetch new weather data. This should all happen after the new preferences are written. And that is why we use commit instead of apply when we're writing to our shared preferences. Commit ensures that the preferences are ready in time for our SyncAdapter update, whereas apply is asynchronous and can't make the same guarantee. Now, as for actually writing the latlong preferences, I'm leaving that to you.